Have you ever thought about taking vacation, but worried about going on vacation because you have two autistic children or even one autistic child, and just struggle with daily activities and going out in public with them? If you have, I might have a solution for you. We recently did a cruise on Harmony of the Seas with a nonprofit group called Autism on the Seas. This is our short review of that cruise and the services we got from them.
So, Autism on the Seas is an organization that is all nonprofit, that is all volunteers that have gone to college and have degrees in the different backgrounds of people with disabilities. Now, it's not just for anyone with autism, it can be, and they also take people with different types of disabilities. They are a great organization.
They cater to people with autism as well as all sorts of other cognitive disabilities, their families, and extended families. In addition to that, they don't specialize just in children. Anybody with these disabilities, regardless of age, is welcome to sail with them and receive their services.
Right. They help you with anything and everything. And I cannot stress how wonderful this organization is. They, on day one, they will meet you at the pier and you will see them because they are in orange shirts with the orange balloon and they will guide you every step of the way.
Correct. Yeah, you just show up to the port. Usually, the group leader will reach out to you about a week before your cruise and give you a rundown on the plan. And then you'll reach out, you'll show up to the port. They'll meet you there with orange balloons and orange shirts and escort you through the entire check in process, which for us seemed to take about a half hour to complete.
And anyone that has a child or family member with a disability that doesn't understand that comprehension of why are we just standing here and waiting, it really helps with that because our two boys are both autistic and they don't understand the concept of time. Why are we just standing here? Why can't we go? We want to go do this. As they've gotten older, they have gotten a little bit more patient with us on waiting, but it is a huge help to be able to be escorted through that entire process. So while you are providing your documents to check in, the volunteer staff member is there to help you with your kid. So it's very helpful.
Correct. And then once you process through security, which usually takes about a half hour to complete, um, you'll either board the ship immediately then, or you may have to wait a few minutes for the ship to become ready, depending on how quickly they were able to turn it around that day. If you are waiting, they have a somewhat separated section of the waiting area where their staff also assists you and will help keep an eye on your children.
Right. On this particular ship, when we were waiting, we had to wait a little bit. They had an area, it was a play area. I mean, anybody, I guess, that is waiting could have played. But I mean, it was available for the kids so they could be kind of in that corner and just play and be loud. And, we didn't have to worry about anything. So it was controlled chaos while we were waiting.
Right, and they weren't disturbing anybody, and it was a play area for other kids as well,
Right.
so there was no expectation of quietness or anything like that.
Yeah.
So once we board the ship, then we went pretty much straight away to the buffet for lunch, and they were there to help us with that as well. They'll
Right.
have their staff as you get there. They have reserved tables for us to sit at. If you've ever gone to the buffet on Royal Caribbean's cruise ships, you know how difficult it can be to find a table. So having those reserved tables was a huge plus.
It was. And then they'll ask you, well, do you want me to take your kid and go through the line? So if your kid is able to do so, they will guide your child or family member in this case to go through that buffet and help. Or they will sit at the table and wait with your child while you go to that buffet and get their food. And also, after you bring their food back, they will watch them so you can go get your own food.
Correct. Yeah, that was a huge help.
Yes.
And very similar at breakfast time as well. We same venue, the buffet, and same reserved tables. So that was great.
Yes.
And then shortly after that, we did our muster drill. Um, that was also coordinated with the group, so we didn't have to go to the traditional muster drill. That was all in a private venue just for us and a lot easier to complete.
Yeah, I believe it was in the conference room.
It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the conference room on this ship is where they also have the respite, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Correct. After that, we did meetings with the group leader to get to know the different families on board the ship and our needs and the needs of all the other families on the ship.
Right. And then once the cabins were open, we were able to drop off our stuff. And then they do a sail away party over on the pool deck if there's a sail away. So we've got several staff members there that are all ready to dance with your child and get them going. And it's just really nice to be able to sit and have a drink and know that your child is being looked after.
Yeah, it was a great way to start the trip for
For
sure.
sure.
Yep. And then later in that evening, we had dinner in the main dining room.
Right.
And again, we had our own private section there um, for our group. They had options for us to sit at a private table or with other families. And I believe we chose other families for this one.
Right. And it's so nice to, when you go with a group like that, to be able to meet different families that are going through the same difficulties that you are as a parent. So oftentimes you can connect with those parents and know what they're going through. And there's no judgment here at all because we know how society can be judging our kids. And then they also offer advice to us, and we offer advice to them on what works for us might work for them, and vice versa. So it's really nice. We've met several families that we're still in touch with that we've become great friends with.
Right. And that first night, there was no respite on that first night,
Right.
which I'd like to see that improved if possible. But they were very busy that day getting to learn all the families and everybody's needs. So I kind of
Right.
understand why that didn't take place, but it would have been nice had it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the reason why because you do meet with a group leader and a staff member to get to know our family and any issues that might arise and how we handle it at home so we can help them. So if they see the issues come up during respite and you're not there to calm your child, they then know what to do. But I mean, they're very knowledgeable.
Correct. So that was essentially the end of day one, the boarding day.
Right.
Um, in the evening, we were left on our own to explore the ship with our kids and hit the different venues and entertainment
Right.
on that evening. The next morning, we did breakfast as a group in
Yeah.
the Windjammer. It wasn't a real structured time. They had a window of about like 90 minutes that we could
Mm-hmm.
show up to the buffet and get our food. Um, again, they would help your child through the line to pick out what they wanted for food, or they would watch the child while you went and got the food for them.
And then after we were done eating, I mean, they check in if there's not one sitting with you.
Right,
That they check in and say, "Is there anything else you need? Can I get you guys anything?" So I mean, it's so nice.
right. Then almost immediately after breakfast was done, probably less than a half hour after, was pool time,
It
and
is
they generally did that at the kids' pool and also one of the adult pools as well,
right if you've got older.
right? And the hot tubs. The
Yep,
kids love the hot tubs.
they do.
Yep. So that lasted, I want to say, about 90 minutes, and they did that every sea day.
Yeah, or if any of the kids want to go on the slide,
Yep, they
they
did
would
this,
go.
did the slides as well.
Go help your child with that. So even if, as a parent, you're not wanting to go swim, you know that your child can still do it. And again, you can sit back, have a drink, and relax.
Yeah, you could be as involved as you want. You could run through and play with your child and chase
Mm-hmm.
them through the water and get them going, or the staff can watch them go down the slide or help them however they need the help.
Right. So they're very hands on, and our kids love Team Orange.
They did.
Yeah,
Brandon loved that slide so much he wore his bathing suit on it. We needed to replace it halfway through the cruise.
that's true. Now, that being said, if you have a child that is not potty trained, because we know how big of a struggle that can be. Because Brandon, it took him a while
It
to
did.
get the hang of that. So we know, when you get there, it's a big milestone. And if not, that's okay too. Um, they have to be in swim diapers and they have to stay in the kids area.
Naturally, that's not totally correct.
No? Did they
No,
change it?
it hasn't changed. It's been like this for a long time. Swim diapers are not allowed in their pools. They're not allowed in the kids area. The only area that they are allowed in is a infants
That's
section,
right.
which is isolated. It's a very small section with very limited play structures, and that's not on all ships. That's only on some of the newer ships.
Right. That's
Um,
where I got
but
mixed
that
up.
that is a international guideline that all cruise lines have to follow. It's not just a Royal Caribbean thing or a Carnival thing. That's unfortunately that's international law on these cruise ships.
Yeah.
So,
So,
so your child does need to be potty trained, or at least not in swim diapers to use these things. When you hit the private islands, not just the private islands, but any of these stops, places like the beach are fine with swim diapers and other pools, but the pools on the cruise ship itself are the problem.
yeah, that's where I got mixed up. Okay.
All
And
right.
then after pool area, guess what? We do a lot of eating on the cruise ships on sea days, right? Get ready and you head up to lunch at the Windjammer, where they've got a reserved seating area for you as well.
Yep, that's basically the
Same thing.
same thing as day
Yeah.
one, slightly different items on the menu to pick from, but it's the same thing repeated. Correct.
Yes. And then sometimes I know there have been some families that want to go to the main dining room for lunch. And you can always coordinate with your group leader if there's several families going, then they might be able to send a couple of staff members to go and assist.
Yeah, we've had that
Um,
happen a few times.
yes,
We've also had lunch at Johnny Rockets with them a couple times.
yes, they will set up different things to do. Um, so might not just be the Windjammer, but she'll have that all laid out in your itinerary, which they normally give you on that first evening after dinner when you go to the conference room to do the meetup. Um, that's where they'll give you the paper for the schedule for the next day.
Correct. And then starting that first full day on the ship, you get respite service in the evening.
Yeah.
Usually shortly after dinner time, I'd say somewhere around 8 or 9 o'clock, and it usually
Mhm.
lasts about an hour to an hour and a half. That's your opportunity to go and see the different shows and entertainment on the
Right.
ship, or hit bars, or just have a private meal.
Or go hang out with some other families.
Correct. Yeah.
We know several that have done that. Yeah, so we normally take advantage of going to a comedy show or, something like that. Now, I also remember that they also will set up reserved seating if that particular ship, like Harmony did, has the skating show or the aqua show.
Correct. They did reserve seating for all the big theater shows, but they didn't do it for things like the adult comedy show
Right.
or the adult scavenger hunt. Those
It's where,
items were on you to to book, um,
right.
which is fine. Um, but it would have been nice to see that a little more up front. We knew it because we had experience sailing with them before.
Right.
But a lot of families did miss out on stuff like that because they didn't know they needed to make those reservations.
Yes, so you need to make reservations on that type of stuff. Um,
It
I
doesn't
know,
hurt to have a reservation that you don't use. It's not like you pay for those entertainment reservations.
right? So we've done that, but I think now the whole new thing since COVID, after COVID, you have to make those reservations day one when you get on that ship.
Pretty
So
much,
just
yeah. They won't let
be
you book
aware
them
of
ahead.
that. Yeah. So
All right, so yeah, we got respite and mealtime. What about the shore excursions with them on port days?
right, they're helpful. We've done. They normally will do a beach excursion. And that's where, we all leave as a group together and get to where we're going together. And they get the areas and you sit and being that I'm in the wheelchair, I don't go in the beach. So Craig put me in a lounger under an umbrella when we were in St. Martin. And he was able to go out to the beach with the kids. And he even didn't you rent the jet ski?
We did, yeah. Me and Jonathan rented a jet ski and rode around on that for a while the staff actually watched Brandon.
Yep. And Brandon loved being in that water.
He did.
So,
Jonathan loved the jet ski, so
yeah,
we had a good time.
it worked.
Yep. And then when we went to Cozumel with them, you weren't interested in doing their excursion.
Right.
So we actually went into town and they brought one of their staff on to assist us in town and
Correct.
went to lunch and things like that.
Yes. Again, it's something that you have to coordinate with your group leader because they always bring, they always, how am I trying to say it? They always try to bring enough staff for how
To be
big,
adaptable, right?
yeah. So it was okay to send one with us. It wasn't a one on one that we had gotten through autism, which is something that you can do. It's an extra fee. You have to pay for that person. Um, but we were able to get a one on one while we were in Cozumel to help us with the kids. So we go sightseeing and do the touristy of shopping. And we had lunch, so we paid for that person's meal
Right.
since they were assisting us with the kids. So, and if it was actually the group leader that went with us.
It was actually both times we've done that in Cozumel. It's been group leaders that have gone with us.
Right.
Yep.
So, and we're still in touch with her too. She said as many times as she's been a group leader, she'd never been able to stop. So she was thankful
Right.
for it. But they are so wonderful.
Right. Now, something else that they've done, especially in the evening, they offer um, babysitting or like daycare type service if you need it beyond the regular respite hours. Um, that's usually
Right.
for a fee, and you've got to schedule that with your group leader, but that is an option.
It is. I remember going on one of the trips with them. Um, we couldn't stop at our designated port because there was another cruise ship in our spot. So we pushed on to Cozumel. We were in Cozumel overnight,
Yeah,
which has never happened.
we didn't get there until like 6 or 6:30 at night, so it
So
was
we,
perfect opportunity to get Mexican food for dinner.
yep. So we went to the main dining room, had the kids fed, took them to respite, found a babysitter, and then we went out
Yep.
into town, which was amazing at night. We've never experienced that. So,
Yep. What else?
and just because they're only there for certain times on the schedule for breakfast, lunch, dinner, the respite, and all of that, if there is an issue that arises and you need help, all you have to do is get a hold of your group leader. Your group leader will make sure that you know how to contact her at all times. So I know that there's been a couple issues, not that we personally have dealt with, um, someone else did, and she was right there to assist and all of that, um, which is amazing. So if anything happens, don't feel bad about reaching out for help because that's what they're there for.
Yep, correct. A couple of things I was nervous about before going on the ship with the kids was we had a balcony, and I was worried about that balcony and the access out there. Um, I was worried that they'd be able to open the slider door. I was also, worried about them maybe sneaking out there. Um,
The cabin,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Um, they do offer these alarms that you can put on those doors, and Autism on the Seas actually has a link to them on their website for them.
Yeah,
But a lot of those fears were really unfounded. That door was extremely heavy to open,
and you
and it
can
was
hear
also
it.
pretty loud
Yeah,
to open. So, in our instance, it wouldn't really bother me that the kids aren't getting out there without me knowing.
correct. I mean, and the kids love the balcony. So even once you're out on that balcony, the railing is really high, so you don't have to worry about them, leaning too far over it, which they don't. They just sit and they take in the breeze and
Yeah,
enjoy it.
on me, it's up to here. So on the kids, it's like up to their necks.
Right.
So
So just a little
yeah,
reassurance there.
yeah.
Don't they also, like, at some point, normally we do a week long cruise. We hardly ever do the short cruises anymore. Not to say that we don't, we do. Um, but don't they offer like a respite dinner
They
towards
normally
the
do,
end
at
of
least
the
on the
trip?
week long ones. They do.
Yeah.
And that's something you're going to want to speak to the group leader with and find out what day that's scheduled, especially if you want to take care of or take advantage of the specialty restaurants that evening,
Right.
because those typically will book up pretty early.
Also, when you're doing that respite dinner at night, when you do the reservations for yourself, just keep in mind that before you drop off your children, or family member, that they need to be fed before they're dropped off. Otherwise, if they're anything like our kids, they might get hangry.
Correct, yeah. They tend to have activities on a lot of these ships. On Harmony of the Seas, they had the Ultimate Abyss slide, the Flow Rider, the
Right.
zip line, and ice skating. We got private time on all those
Yeah.
things.
So, and on the ultimate vest, again, because I'm in a wheelchair, I can't get all the way up there and come down. Um, they start, what floor does it start on?
Way up on like 16.
And
Yeah,
it comes down to, I
something
think,
like
six or
6, I
five.
think.
Um, but yeah, so they have staff members at the bottom and at the top. So constant supervision is what they are all about.
Yep, they have staff on both ends, and I think you waited for us down at the bottom,
I
and I
did.
rode down with the kids.
Yeah.
Yep. What do
Um,
you think their favorite activity was on that ship?
the kids, the slide.
The water slides?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
I
they might have
mean,
liked the flow rider a lot. That was a lot of
I
fun.
mean, now we've done several cruises with them. With Harmony, the one that had the fishbowl.
Yes.
Here's a little fun fact, little tidbit for you. Our youngest decided to go on this one, and they let him go down by himself. Again, I'm at the bottom waiting. He decides to go down into the fishbowl and then just stop.
Yeah, it's just a big one of those big bowl slides, like a fish bowl or toilet bowl type slide, and he just put his hands out and stopped in the slide and just decided he was going to sit up in there.
Yep. So he held up the entire line.
After about 10 minutes, somebody had to climb up to try and get him out.
Yep. And this was after, because they were supposed to go down the racing slide.
Yeah, but
He,
that was after he hit the emergency stop
right,
button.
because I was over here waiting for them on the racing slide, and all of a sudden I'm like, huh, I see them over there by the fishbowl slide. It's because our youngest is a button pusher. He stopped the.
Yeah, they do a lot of things that you would expect would get you in trouble on the
Yeah,
ship, but they seem to understand because of the autism.
correct.
They got to pass on a lot of that stuff.
So he
If
had
I
to.
hit the emergency stop on the slide, they'll have a problem with that. But Brandon can hit it all day.
We don't encourage it, but yeah. He just thinks it's funny. He's all button, hit it, and it's like, oh.
Yep.
So held up everybody else, so I had to get restarted again.
Yep. What else? Towards the end of the cruise, we had a private party with the entire Autism on the Seas group.
But you get your
We got
shirt,
Yep, but you got your shirts early, but you were supposed to wear them for that party.
right, at dinner as well.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they take a big picture with everyone at the end.
Yeah, big group picture and give
Yeah.
everybody the awards. The kids really seem to like the different awards for things.
They do, yeah, and they get little prizes and things like that.
And then the final morning, everybody gets up and meets as a group, and they escort you off the ship.
We have breakfast first. And
Right.
then, yes, and then we meet as a group, which is so great because we all go together. We all go to the luggage, and all of our luggage, because the group leader gets special tags for
She
the
does.
luggage.
All ours is in a
So all
special
of
spot.
ours is separate instead of by deck, it's by our group. which
Right.
is nice.
Yep.
And
And
then,
we got a pretty early number on that as well, so we can get out pretty early.
yeah. So, I mean, overall, I mean, we can't stress enough how amazing this organization is. And if you're ever wondering, is it worth it to go? Yes, it costs a little bit more than your average cruise because you're paying for the autism fee, but it's definitely worth it, believe me.
Yeah, that the help is very welcomed.
Yeah, just having those people that jump right in to help if you're getting overwhelmed or flustered. I know not this particular cruise that we did, but one a little bit later that we did with them, Brandon threw a tantrum in the middle of the promenade.
Right.
And this was, we were just on our own and we happened to see our group leader and she came over and she's like, "Are you guys okay? Here, let me walk with you." So she was real quick to jump in and help. And that was really nice.
Yep. And
So
now, if you're on the fence about this, I definitely would recommend giving them a try.
for sure. Like I said, I mean, it's not just for autistic kids, it's anyone,
Yeah, anybody that needs that
any
special
age.
service, right?
Yeah,
Yep. Now they do offer unstaffed cruises as well, and if your child is very high functioning, that might be a good option for you. In our
right,
instance, our children are very low functioning and
right.
really need that hands-on assistance. So
Yeah.
I would not consider one of the ones that is not staffed personally, but that may be a good option for you.
And so, yeah, for sure, look up them on their website. You can see the different cruises. Now, I know that they also do resort stays, which we personally have not done. But if you're hesitant about a cruise and you're interested in a resort stay, then that might be an option for you.
They do. There's not a lot of those, but they do
Right.
offer a few each year, and they oftentimes do a Disney resort stay as well. But
Yeah.
we're local to Disney, so we just kind of do that on our own.
Right. So, but the cruise with them for sure. We've done cruises without them with the kids, and we can definitely tell a difference. It's so much nicer going with them. Now, that being said, if you see on their schedule that there is a cruise that you are interested in that's not on their schedule, you can reach out to them and ask how you can go about getting it staffed. Normally, if you get so many cabins committed, then they'll put it on their schedule and become available for everyone.
Correct.
So,
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Leave us suggestions below on what other topics you'd like to see, other cruise related videos.
if you have any questions, please feel free to leave the comments below and we'll get to you.
Thank you.